Hey Matrix! We're going to be looking at the chapter Memory and Forgetting now. Part of it will be thoughts from a class where I taught Mr. Broom's class, Ma'am Moore's class and my class together, and the rest will be some closing thoughts on the chapter, just to wrap things up.
Obviously, one of the central themes of this novel is that whole idea of truth. Right at the beginning of the novel, in the Ike Crook quote, we learn about truth and your version of the truth, and what kind of value you place on truth and how truth develops, whether there is really one side to the truth or if it depends on where you're coming from. And that's the same kind of thing in this chapter. Lally remembers a lot of stuff. There's a lot of talk about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. She thinks, we're on page 167 by the way, she thinks that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission is a farce. She says, actually, what is the point of it? Yeah, she says, what is the point of it? Because actually, when we remember these things, that actually we can't make people forget what they went through. And she said sometimes the remembering just makes you angrier. So it starts off with this vivid picture of what that was really like. In the photograph, the police captain Jeffrey Benzine is illustrating to the Truth Commission the wetbag torture method that he used on the activists Ashley Forbes and Tony Yengeni. Yengeni, who is now a member of parliament, has insisted on a simulation, and a volunteer has come forward to assist. Benzine is squatting on the back of the prone volunteer facing the camera. Now they see this in the, Lally and Pim see this in the Mail and Guardian newspaper. On the next page or further down, Pim says, my God, says Pim, poring over the image. He looks as if he's buggering the guy. Lally murmurs assent. It doesn't look like that. It's unbelievable what these policemen actually did. It was like a big state-sanctioned murder club. I mean, one knew, sort of, that things like this happened. But to have it out in the open like this, and the extent of it, as an afterthought he adds, what a terrific newspaper. And they had this argument about the newspaper, and lower down, she expresses this about the Truth Commission. She says, it's just all about the Truth Commission. Pim's like, well, what do you expect? The truth needs to come out into the open. Excuse me. We need to talk about these things. We need to know what happened so we can move on and we can forgive. Lally says this, I don't see the point. The point? Amusement gives away to aggravation. Lally, people died, were tortured, abducted, families were torn apart. The most obscene things were sanctioned by people in positions of responsibility. Human beings were cooked on fires, while other human beings stood around the fire drinking cans of beer. Can you understand that? That's the point. Truth is the point. Knowledge is the point. Yes, she says, but it doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it not have happened. And then later on she says, because she explains, it's your memory and their forgetting. You can make yourself remember, but you can't make them not forget. So you go there and you make yourself remember and you put yourself in that place, and then your memory finds their forgetting and it makes you angrier. So she says she's struggling with this whole thing of the truth. So yes, that's the truth, that's what happened. But when I remember what happened and they're not forgetting what happened, and when those two things meet, actually everyone gets angrier. That's Lally's viewpoint. Why do you think Lally feels like this? Why is she so anti the TRC at this time? Because she doesn't want to speak up. Because she knows there's this thing she has, the truth about Sipho Koshani, the things that other people haven't seen or didn't know about. She was the only one who witnessed that, apart from Bowyer, Preston and McGrath. She's the only person who saw what happened. She saw him being taken away. She knew where he went. She knew the lay path was responsible for Sipho's disappearance and probable death. And so the TRC upsets her actually just on a personal level, because we know Lally is against what happened in South Africa. We know she's against apartheid, but it's on this personal level. The truth frightens her, because if she actually has to face up to the truth, she needs to speak up about it, and she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to expose herself to that. Why? Because she's decided to live in her little ice closet. Then she says to Pim, there is one thing, I have to make a decision about something. She's about to tell him, this is what I need to decide. I need to decide whether I'm going to go back to South Africa or not and speak about this thing. And then he gets a phone call, and it's clear from the phone call that it's Ruth, his wife. And when the phone call finishes, she loses her courage. And when he says, "What were you saying about a decision?" she says, "Oh, I can't remember," says Lally. You see, for her, it's easier to forget or to try and forget. That's why she spent all this time overseas. Because if she were in South Africa, she would be confronted by that thought. Now she doesn't have to deal with the truth. These damn letters she got, though, are like forcing her to think of the truth. The one she tried to throw away, the other one she can't throw away. Because she realizes her responsibility, but doesn't want to face up to it.
Okay, so in the middle of this chapter, there's a subheading, and it's an encounter that Lally has with Preston, who is part of the triumvirate, the three guys, the three main leaders of Lally's year, McGrath, Bowyer, and then Preston. And there's some significant things about this encounter with Preston, because it's almost as if she starts eventually dealing with the truth and facing up to the truth and facing up to her role in exposing the truth.
When we first meet Lally, what are we told about her? She's the kind of person you'll sort of remember being at school with, but you'll never be able to recall her name. Exactly this. She was this insignificant girl. What he doesn't know is that she actually isn't so insignificant in his life. Because she was the one who witnessed what happened in the shed and how they caught Sipho Koshani. And she goes into that. She finally has the guts. At school she never had the guts. She even says it. When they throw the cracker and Zulu gets into trouble, she even says, "I didn't have the guts to go and take them on, or to tell the truth, or to stand up for Zulu." Then she says to him, Preston says, "Lally, why did you do it?" Preston is caught off guard. "Do what?" he says, confused. "Not take the blame for throwing that cracker that Zulu had." "What?" "The Singapore cracker that made Mr. Payne lie on the floor, and he gave Zulu jacks for it." "Oh, that ridiculous thing?" He chuckles obligingly, obviously imagining that she is mock chastising him over an old shared joke. All schoolboys play pranks. You see, for him, for this big oak, he just plays pranks and does stuff like it doesn't matter to him. He doesn't know what emotional scarring he actually caused someone else. He doesn't give a stuff because he lives so much in his own authoritarian world, big man on campus. He doesn't have to worry about anyone else. Then she said, "You shouldn't have started Lally. She's breaking into a chemical sweat. The words are hard to find, and her body seems to be allowing tinctures of weird, long-ago emotions. There is a metal taste in her mouth. Her heart is hammering. She needs to gulp at the insubstantial air. She does not want to ask Preston this question. She does not want to refer to it. She does not even want to remain in this room that holds Preston. But something drives her. This could be the only chance she will ever have to answer the most burning of questions. Why? She wants to know, why did you do that to that young boy? What did he do to you?" She's talking about Sipho Koshani. She's saying, "Why did you do that? I saw you do it. Why did you do it?" She's always wanted to ask that question.
So, in that moment, Preston thinks that Lally is talking about Zulu, but in fact, she's talking about the other boy, the black boy who was hiding in the shed, she said. She challenges him. She says, "You saw, you told." She really wants to know why. She wants to understand what was in it for Preston, for McGrath, for Bowyer. They said it was a vagrant, and they wanted to keep him off campus. It was their duty. Preston almost brushes Lally aside. He still doesn't realize what he's actually caused. He thinks it was a vagrant. Little does he know what the truth was of South Africa at that time. And that actually Sipho Koshani, when he was taken away by Dilepat, was probably tortured, was probably driven to the edge, and most probably in the end killed in the most horrific of ways. We see Lally feeling sick about this encounter. It sort of ends there because Preston is saved by the return of his wife into the estate agent's office from the toilet. But it doesn't end there for Lally. She feels sick. She goes home and she literally vomits. It's the real horror she feels. And she feels a sense that she wants to kill them. That's how angry she is. She's angry enough to kill. She wishes that their house falls on them, on the fetus, on the wife, on the children, on Preston. Because there's nothing she can do. At the time when Lally sees it happen, she wants to save this boy and she can't. she's trapped by the head girl. And that same helplessness she feels there comes back to her again now. The nausea she feels, the sickness she feels is because she can't do anything about it. And I think this event really spurs her on to go and speak to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, because she's seen the Mail and Guardian article. She's remembered. She's seen Preston. She realizes that she can't let this go. Something wells up inside her, and she wants Preston to pay. Maybe not to pay, but to realize what he's done, and also more likely for Deloper to pay for what he's done, and to give some dignity back to that young boy, a boy who was fighting the right fight, the correct fight, the true fight.